For 3 years, everyone knew him as Jin, a quiet, invisible man who worked in the logistics department of a mid-sized company, arriving early, leaving late, and never speaking unless spoken to. He wore the same worn jacket every winter, ate convenience store meals at his desk, and avoided eye contact as if he had already accepted that he would never matter. To his coworkers, Jin was harmless, forgettable, and easy to ignore, which made him the perfect target for sarcasm, extra work, and quiet disrespect that no one bothered to notice. When deadlines were tight, tasks were pushed onto him, and when credit was given, his name was never mentioned, as if effort meant nothing without status. Only Hana, a junior employee with a sharp sense of observation, noticed that Jin never complained, even when others openly mocked him, and that his tired eyes carried the calm of someone who had seen far more than the small office. What no one knew was that Jin was living a life he had carefully chosen, hiding a truth so large that revealing it would shake the entire company. 3 years earlier, Jin had been the youngest CEO in the country, inheriting a global conglomerate overnight after his father's sudden death, only to discover that the board members he trusted were already planning to take everything from him. Instead of fighting openly, Jin disappeared, giving up his name, his wealth, and his position, choosing to watch the company from the shadows while learning who was loyal and who was not. As months passed, the office grew harsher, and Jin became the unspoken bottom of the hierarchy, blamed for mistakes he did not make and ignored when he fixed problems no one else could solve. During meetings, managers spoke over him, laughed at his suggestions, and treated his silence as proof of incompetence, unaware that he understood the business better than anyone in the room. Hannah tried to defend him once, only to be warned that associating with someone like Jin would damage her career. A warning that made her hesitate, but never fully turn away. Late at night, Jin stayed behind, reviewing supply chains, spotting irregularities, and quietly documenting evidence of corruption that matched what he had suspected years ago. The same executives who had forced him out were still manipulating contracts, draining resources, and preparing to sell the company once profits peaked. Jin endured every insult not because he was weak, but because patience was the sharpest weapon he had left. The breaking point came when a senior manager publicly blamed Jin for a major loss, humiliating him in front of the entire office and threatening to fire him on the spot. Jin bowed his head, accepted the blame, and apologized calmly, but something changed in his eyes. Something Hannah noticed immediately. That night, Jin made a single phone call, the first in years, and spoke only one sentence. "It's time." The next morning, the company gathered for an emergency meeting, unaware that the atmosphere felt heavier than usual, as if something invisible was pressing down on everyone. The executives sat confidently at the front, already planning how to shift responsibility for their failures, while Jin stood quietly at the back, wearing the same plain clothes he always did. When the doors opened, the board members entered alongside a group of unfamiliar figures in tailored suits, and the room fell silent. The chairman cleared his throat and announced the return of the company's rightful leader, causing confusion and nervous laughter among the managers. Then Jin stepped forward. For a moment, no one recognized him, until the chairman addressed him by his real name and bowed, and the room erupted into disbelief. Faces drained of color as the truth settled in, and the executives who had mocked him realized they had spent years humiliating the very man who owned everything they stood on. Jin calmly revealed the evidence he had collected, exposing fraudulent deals, hidden accounts, and betrayal that could no longer be denied. Security escorted several executives out as the reality of their actions caught up to them, and silence filled the room once again. Hannah stared at Jin in shock, finally understanding why he had always seemed out of place among people who never deserved his respect. Jin looked around the room, not with anger, but with disappointment, because power had shown everyone's true nature. In the days that followed, The company changed rapidly, corrupt leaders replaced, policies rewritten, and trust slowly rebuilt under Jin's quiet but firm leadership. Jin did not punish those who ignored him, nor did he reward those who suddenly tried to flatter him, choosing instead to judge people by how they treated others when they believed it didn't matter. Hana was promoted not for defending Jin, but for consistently choosing honesty over fear, even when it cost her comfort. When asked why he endured years of humiliation, Jin answered simply that he needed to understand the company from the ground up before he could truly lead it. He had lived as a nobody not to prove his strength, but to remind himself that power without empathy was meaningless. On his first day back as CEO, Jin wore the same watch he had worn as an employee, a quiet reminder of the life he had lived and the truth he would never forget. As he looked out over the city from his office window, Jin knew that revealing the truth had not been the hardest part. The hardest part had been choosing patience over pride and silence over revenge. And that was why, when the truth finally came out, it changed everything.